Ladies and gents, it is my pleasure to bring to this virtual stage from the cast of Warehouse 13. We're going to start it off. Let's hear it for Eddie McClintock. Hey! Eddie's looking for the button right now. I know he is. He's going to turn it on. 3, 2, there he is. Hello. That is an entrance. I love that. Next up, we have Miss Joanne Kelly. Hello. Hey!
Oh, Joy, yes.
Hey! We're going to keep the train rolling with Saul Rubinek.
Woo, woo, woo.
Next up, we have Allison Scagliotti.
Ooh.
Hello. Next up, we have Miss Genelle Williams.
Yeah. Woo, 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 woo.
Coming next to the stage, we have Aaron Ashmore.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, hey.
And literally one of my
there?
favorite
Hi.
actresses in the entire universe, Miss CCH Pounder. Hello.
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Now listen, this is a huge panel, huge showcase. So big, in fact, we have reached out to a super fan to kick things off with a great first question. So if you guys don't mind, make some noise for Miss Kelly Bosco. Hey, Kelly's here. Hello,
Hi, Kelly.
How are you guys?
Good.
So well.
Great. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. So my question is, do you have any favorite memories or moments from filming Warehouse 13 that stick out to you 6 years later since it ended?
Any specific moments? That's a big one.
I guess I'll start. For me, it was hi, Kelly. First of all, the scene at the table when we all had to put our hand on the table and go through our best moments at Warehouse 13 and you know, I just had such a great time with these people. So kind of what you see on the screen, there's not a whole lot of acting going on for me, you know, and knowing that it was all coming to an end. That's the moment that really sticks out for me.
Yeah.
That is the sweetest thing.
It really is. It's kind of how I feel. Mine was
There we
when I
go.
walked away and then when Saul killed me. But when I leave and I come back, that moment of turning around and knowing sort of my fate and Lena's fate all at the same time really sticks out for me in a lot of ways, just because Saul was such a big part of my life for so many years. And it was my first sort of adult show that I was a part of for so long. And he was so amazing and so great. And it was hard. It was a hard scene, but it was beautiful all at the same time. So that's my favorite.
Love it.
I remember very early on the surprise of, because I'd never really done a series for as a regular for very long. And always the head writers were 3,000 miles away. And we had the great Jack Kenny as our showrunner and head writer on the set with us. And what happened early on, I remember Eddie was fooling around and improvising. And I remember Jack coming on from Video Village and saying, keep that. That's great. Just rewrite that. That's great. We just keep what you're doing, Eddie. And then because of that, we all kind of felt free to, improvise a little bit, which normally is very difficult with, a network and a studio behind you 3,000 miles away. And you're told to keep it pretty much the way the script is. And you don't want to screw around too much. And you're trying to be, responsible. But the feeling of freedom that Jack gave us to create the family that we all became. I really feel like I'm looking at my brothers and sisters here.
So wonderful.
For 5 years, and it was a great feeling. I remember Aaron coming on early on when Aaron first came on, and I remember Aaron, you were like, so we can fuck around a little. I said, yeah, man, and you were right. You became a member of the family like within a day. within one day.
Well, I think with you, I would say it took about 3 episodes. You were a little bit like, okay.
Well, my character wasn't too happy about you being there.
No, it took a few episodes, but then once you warmed up to me, we were good to go. We were good to go. No, I'm teasing you. We had fun right off the bat, but
we had fun right off the bat, and it was partly because Jack was so, open, and we had guest stars who were like surprised because people come on and they said, wow, this atmosphere here is really cool. One of the favorite things I remember is all our guest stars came on and had such a great time with us,
Love
they didn't feel a pressure. They really felt that they had the room to fuck around and to fail and to, which is an incredibly important thing because we all fell flat on our faces on a regular basis. And from that kind of family happened. So my memories are kind of spread out because of that, but I remember that part of it was a joy.
And because you're old.
Whoa. I didn't. Wow. Joanne, what about you?
You know what I was just thinking about? I was thinking about when we had those hard hats on and we were on like the little forklift and we were going to the house for the first time. And the ferret thing, remember?
Oh my God.
Ferret. Like we killed a ferret? Like,
oh my God.
No, Peter, we did not kill the ferret. We did not do that.
The ferret's quote was too high.
Right.
But yeah, I think, and I remember the first I got gooed. I still remember because I had to go back to the trailer and change my underwear. Because I didn't just like get into clothes. It like got into my business.
Some serious goo right there. Okay. Industrial goo. That happens. It does.
I remember sitting beside Eddie at the very first Comic-Con. And I remember people in the service coming up to Eddie first, and then to me, and to all the rest of us who were there, and people who were stationed in Afghanistan who were telling us that they liked watching Warehouse because of their days, because of the kind of days they'd had, and were grateful to us. And I remember just Eddie and I, tears streaming down our face, and trying to be nice, it was just very moving to have people who were in the service and who actually were stationed soldiers who were stationed overseas who were grateful to the show for taking them away for a little while, and that meant a lot. It meant a great deal. I remember Eddie, I think you were given some kind of medal of some soul gave you. Can you tell us what happened, Eddie?
Yeah. Thanks, Saul. I think I was up in Denver, and I had a young kid walk up to my table, and he said he loved the show, and he was a Marine, and of course, I thanked him for his service, and then he started telling me that he had stepped over a remotely detonated IED and had to be medevaced out, spent almost 2 full years in the hospital having surgeries on his legs, and almost lost both of his legs. And it's just a tough story even to tell. It's the greatest compliment I've ever been paid. But the next day he came back and he said, your character and this show kept me alive when I was laying in the hospital. He was like, I loved your character, and I want you to have this. And he gave me his Purple Heart. Wow. And I just said, brother, thank you, but this belongs with your family. I appreciate you more than you know. And he was like, it's okay, man. I've got 2 because I got blown up in Iraq too. So I was like, all right.
I got a spare. Don't worry about it. There you go.
Yeah, I keep that up in our safe, and it's one of my most prized possessions. And every year on his Alive Day, I try and check in with him just to let him know I'm glad he's still around.
That's awesome. Allison?
Y'all, I mean,
know, right?
You know, I had a unique experience because when I joined the cast of the show, I was at an age where like most of my peers are going to college, like leaving home for the first time and being among people their own age and, you know, engaging in academia. And instead, like I got to go move to a different country and be surrounded by this insanely talented pool of people that I was learning from every day. So it's hard to distill an experience of 5 years of formative, education and life down to one memory. You know, how do you thank the show that brought you from crayons to perfume, so to speak? But for me, my favorite memories are it's in two parts. It's my very first day and my very last day, because when I think of who I was at the beginning of the show versus who I was at the end of the show and how much I learned and how much we grew together. There's not a single experience on set or a single, scene that really illuminates the fullness of the experience as much as thinking about the bookends.
I totally understand that. CCH?
Well, I think I actually feel a lot like Allison. Not that I was there a lot, because I was definitely the in and out regular. But I think when I discovered that Mrs. Fredericks was going to pass the mantle or the torch on to Allison's character, that was pretty cool, because it didn't make itself really apparent soon. It was suddenly there, and it was something really sweet about that.
That's brilliant. I love that. Kelly, that was a great question. Where can everybody find you online in the scope of the fandom here?
I have a fan account called warehouse _13 that I take from frequently just to support you guys all. And I appreciate you guys coming here today.
No, we thoroughly appreciate you. Everybody go follow that right now. Do it now.
Before Kelly takes off, I just want to let everybody know that Kelly was with us at Rockefeller Center that day, Joanne, when we did the morning, the Today show. And
outside, the unveiling, the sci-fi unveiling. Yeah.
Yeah. Kelly was the first person I ever signed my name to as Pete Lattimer, and she has been incredibly supportive of our show and has done a great job running the Warehouse 13 Twitter site. So, Kelly, thank you so much for that.
It's awesome. Yeah. Round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Definitely.
Thanks, Kelly.
Have a good one.
Just real quick, Victor, one of my other memories that comes to mind is when I dropped a deuce in Saul's trailer and Joanne stood watch and made sure that
what just happened?
Welcome to the show.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope you flush that and that didn't end up in a crate somewhere.
Saul's face right now is me forever.
Poor Saul's reliving that
oh my God,
fateful moment.
Oh my God, I wasn't ready. Thank you, Kelly, once again. Jonna Engel actually gives you a shout out for your shirt. Says a great choice of t-shirt. Absolutely true. Okay, so I don't even know how I'm going to follow up the poopy story. No. This is how we're going to do it. First question. 2020 has been a very strange year in so many different ways. Saul, this one kind of goes to you. What is the artifact that got out and caused the calamity of this year, and how do we put it back? What do we got to do? Please let us know.
I think we did it, although he's not admitting it yet.
Whoa! Bazinga! Okay.
It was too easy.
He's
Gave it an orange box.
Let me put it this way.
Floating down the Mississippi.
Let me put it this way. He's been snagged and bagged, but he hasn't been tagged yet.
Okay. Wow. Listen, he had that answer in reserve. I didn't even warn him of what that was. He was ready. I love it. Clearly, we have a lot of fans that are watching. I got to give a shout out to all the folks that are watching all over the world. We got Italy, Germany, the UK, the US, Venezuela, Sri Lanka, France, the Netherlands, obviously Ohio, OH. That's right. Tennessee, Florida, Vancouver, everyone is here. And let's just go into the fan questions because there's so many. We've got from Seashell_girl, question for everyone. Is there something in your own life that you feel could have absorbed enough emotional energy that it could be in the vault?
Yes. And
I love that everyone's like, yeah. Can you reveal what it is? Eddie, what you got?
On Artie's desk in Artie's office, there was a little set of bongos. And so whenever we were setting up or between takes, I would pick up the bongos because I was never annoying enough on my own. And
Okay.
I would just walk around playing these bongos, and my castmates' hatred went into these bongos and are imbued with the power of what are they imbued with the power of, Allison? Help me out.
Yeah, where are we going with this?
Sweeping irritation.
Oh, there we go.
And
SI
of
effect.
course, at the end of the series, I had everyone sign my bongos, and they sit in a very proud place on my bookshelf. So
Well said. Joanne?
I don't know, those bongos. They're just, that's all I can hear right now. And sometimes I have a quiet moment of relief, you know?
Totally understand that. Well, not even from the show. What about from your own personal life? Is there something, at home that you're like, this is my thing. This is my emotional, standpoint.
Actually it ended up in the show. We actually put it in the show, my teddy bear.
Aww.
That my mom got at my baby shower before I was born. It's the only thing that I pretty much always have with me, no matter where I am. It's like a good luck charm. And it ended up I'm dancing with it in a scene in the show, and it's here in New York in my bedroom, but I would think if there was one thing that I have that has special powers, it's probably that bear.
Nice.
And ironically, that was mine and Joanne's safe word.
Teddy bear?
Yeah. When Eddie would we had to have a summit in season 2, and he came over the house. It was the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And he came over the house, and we were like, I love you, but I hate you, and I will kill you if you continue to do these things that you're doing. So, and he was like, I too love you, and I too hate you. So let us decide together how to negotiate this and not become enemies. So we decided to come up with a word that when we were getting close to our limit, we would say. And teddy bear, I would look at it, I remember I'd be like, teddy bear, teddy bear, teddy bear, teddy bear, teddy bear.
Did you guys hear them randomly say teddy bear and now it all makes sense?
What's interesting is that I think I heard Joanne say it a lot. I don't know how many times I heard Eddie say it, but I know Joanne said it a lot.
I always knew about the safe word because Eddie never had any secrets. So if anything was going on, the whole set knew.
True.
Okay, good to know. Genelle, did you have an artifact from your personal life that you could share?
I think the only one that I could share would probably be a ring that belonged to my grandmother that passed away when I was younger. Sort of reminds me of my necklace that I always used to wear all the time. Very similar to that, but yeah, that would definitely be the one that I could share with you guys. Anyways.
CCH, what about you?
Everything she ever wore was
the tweed, all the tweed.
Man, boucle. The word I learned, because what was so amazing is that those dresses were made specifically for Mrs. Frederick, and there was always a double dress. Like in the hot summer, she was still in this incredible boucle stuff, but the backs were like a very thin gauze, and if it just had to show the front. So it was just the fact that the tailor took such specific pains to make me comfortable no matter what season it was. And even at the end, he gifted me one of them that he made specially for me to walk away with and say, I don't know if you'll ever play Mrs. Frederick again, but here's your memory. So, and I have it.
That was Ahmed, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes, Super Ahmed.
Ahmed the tailor. Mm-hmm. Yeah, fantastic.
Aaron, what about you, sir?
I think just given this year, there's been a lot of anxiety. Mm-hmm. And I find that I have a little black cat, and when I'm feeling very anxious, she'll come sit on my lap. Aww. And I pet her a lot. So I think she takes on my anxiety. So I would say that she would be my artifact this year, my little anxiety artifact. Mm-hmm. Sorry, little kitty cat, but yeah.
We got Australia kicking in now, so that's even more amazing. We got even more people around the world listening. Okay. Yes. At this point in time, it kind of is actually for them. Okay, so let's see. Let's go to another question from the group here. This one's kind of a crazy one. Apple's Puzzles. This one is a question for the ladies. So if Myka, Claudia, Lena, Miss Frederick, were all to have like a girls' night out, right? Where would they go?
Where would you take me?
I was just going to say.
I think we would have to make it a numerous stop, even to satisfy everybody's needs, right?
Got you.
Get a hell of an education.
I just saw bowling alley. I was like, I think we'd go bowling.
So we go bowling. We have a fine meal. We go to some like ratty concert hall later to see a punk band play.
Claudia would plan it.
I think we just have the warehouse limo and we kind of tear the town up. I mean, where would we go?
I like that. I can just see Mrs. Fredericks peeping out the window going, no, I'll sit this one.
I don't know. I think Miss Fredericks is the first one to get into a bar fight.
When you get back.
For the fellas, where would you guys go?
the bar at the Soho.
That's just boom.
Where we had apartments, right? Where that restaurant bar place where you could see every American actor who was coming to Toronto.
It was the Mose Eisley Cantina of Toronto.
Yeah, it was the Soho, which was walking distance from Blue Jay Stadium, and but that bar had more gossip in it about every show that was being shot in Toronto. that was an amazing place. I don't know if it still must be, right? I don't know if actors still stay there or not. I have no idea. I haven't shot in Toronto and stayed there since then, but that place was amazing. That's where we would go.
Love that. I love that. Now, are you guys, this is a weird question, but are you fans of the show? Do you watch your own work?
Never.
No?
Constantly. No.
I mean, and I can totally understand that, but based on the lore of the series, what point in time or what warehouse would you like to see a show made out of that's not 13? So from 1 through 12, what era of warehouse would you want to see a show made out of?
I'd like to see the future, because obviously the past would be really interesting, but I think the future would also be very interesting because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. The history, we could go back, and obviously that's such a huge part of the show. But I think if you had the writing staff and that we had the creativity in that they could bring to the future, I think would be really, really interesting. And I also think, Allison would be there. So that would be pretty fun to see too.
There's going to be a warehouse on the moon, and that's what's going to happen. That's all.
You asked about, had we ever watched ourselves on the show? And I had never really, we would have to go in and do the commentary for the episodes. But even then, I don't know if I never really paid a whole lot of attention, which I'm sure will shock most of the viewers. But during quarantine, we were flipping through the channel. You watch everything that's. Of
course.
And I was sitting there with my wife, and I was like, "Oh, look, there's Warehouse 13," and we started watching it from the beginning, and we watched the first full season together. And when the first full season ended, my wife, she turned to me and she goes, "That's a good show." And I got it, because, when you're acting and you're thinking about, 1,000 different things than the show, but to actually sit and get to watch these people do such incredible things and to be able to be a part of it, I was really proud of it, and I got it. I understood why people were so drawn to it, you know, because of the performances and because of the bond that these people had together, and the writing. I mean, it just was like Saul used to say, we had lightning in a bottle, you know, and it's something I'm really proud of.
That's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
think we have to throw in that Jack Kenny was a great glue for this.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Shout out. 100%.
It ain't on the page, it ain't on the stage, as the saying goes.
There you go. And speaking of, we got a question from Sci-Fi Vision, and hopefully this is something that kind of kicks this off, but have you considered or maybe even heard any rumblings of doing a reunion script reading where all of you get together, even in a virtual space like this, and maybe read a couple of episodes, act those out for fans or anything like that? Is that something you guys would be up for?
They can't afford us.
Well, you deserve absolutely.
My question is, are we reading something from the past or are we reading new material?
Which would you prefer?
Well, I'm a lot older than when I first put on Claudia's studded jacket. Like
maybe in reality, but there's no, you don't look it. Not at all.
It's tricky for me. Like, Joanne, you probably feel the same way. Like revisiting this thing that we made for me is like looking at baby pictures, but just imagine if like the whole world can see your baby pictures. All I see when I watch my old work is how inexperienced and imperfect and messy it was, you know? So it's hard to enjoy. I can't answer getting back together for a script reading. I mean, if you build it, we will come, I guess.
Listen, be careful when you say that, because Twitter will work. Twitter will make it happen. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Have you seen any of these? Who's done script readings of old shows? Who's done?
So there's been a couple, entities that have done it. I know Kevin Smith did a big one with Clerks. That was a big one. Here and there, I've seen them in different places. There's been a few voice actors that have done certain things, but obviously when it becomes a, such a fan beloved show, people will love to get every little bit of you that they can. Obviously we're seeing in the comments here, we've got Infinite Dreams Gaming says, I'm in the middle of a rewatch, getting my youngest daughter to watch with me. So you're talking generational, adorations from you guys. So I'm sure any little new thing, everyone would love. So I kind of agree with that. I'm not going to lie. You guys are brilliant with that. Let me ask you this question. When it came to the building of the sci-fi universe, Warehouse 13 was a pivotal point in terms of a shared continuity between different series. You got Eureka that kind of started things off, and you guys came in. Did you guys know that this was going to be a phenomenon of shared universes later on in pop culture? Did you have any clue that was going to be a thing? I love the silent nods. Like,
I didn't know what a shared universe was until about 2 years ago.
I remember sitting with Joanne and I were in New York, and I remember sitting with Colin and I'm so sorry, I can't remember one of Colin's castmates,
Joe Morton,
Joe, and them telling us, no, you guys are in, man. You guys, this is it's it, because we were still like, are we going to be a show? Is it, what are we going to, and they're like, no, you guys are going to go. But I don't know if we ever talked about, the overlap and living in the same universe there. But it was really cool to be able to have people like Neil come from that show and some of the other guest cast that came over. And Allison, you went over and did that. An episode, right?
Yeah, it was it felt a little like sleepaway camp, right? Like it came during a mid-season break on Warehouse. So instead of having a vacation, I just went from Toronto to Vancouver and hung out with our West Coast counterparts.
It's such a smart thing to do for shows to create this crossover, because even especially on those shows, the tones were very similar. So it was really easy to sort of meld them together. But talk about building your fan base or creating a bigger fan base. Even if somebody wasn't watching your show, if you bring over somebody from another show that they love, like it sort of creates this ability to kind of, work things together. It's actually pretty brilliant idea.
And I want to add to that, like, because I'm such a fan of vintage TV, it is such kind of a throwback concept, right? Like, does anyone remember that there was a Saint Elsewhere Cheers crossover episode?
Yep. No. Good reference, though. Wow.
Was it Norm?
Wow.
Who was it?
Norm was in it. Ray Perlman was in it. Like, it's a Saint Elsewhere episode and there are scenes on the Cheers set just without a laugh track. It's so bizarre and my favorite thing. I don't know.
Nothing wrong with that. That's
awesome.
up there with Third Rock. Oh, I'm sorry.
When the Fonz showed up on Laverne and Shirley.
There you go.
As I'm old.
Exactly.
Not old, established, distinguished.
I think you're vintage.
Yeah.
You got a little more gray in that beard too there, Eddie, than I remember.
It is, brother. That's all it is.
I'm starting to sneak in there too, but yeah.
That's just a little wisdom.
Saul, your beard still looks the same.
Tell him, Saul. Tell him. He's like, that's just wisdom. I love that.
What? But gray? Yes, it'll happen.
That's right. That's right. So we're coming short on time here. So I kind of want to give you guys an opportunity to all the fans to give one last statement of thanks or whatever you want to leave them with. Some of them hopefully will be back for your one-on-ones, but give you just a little something to say to all the fans here. And Eddie, since you're in my positioning here, we'll start with you.
Well, I mean, the thing that sticks out for me most is here we are 6 years later. Is it 6? Sounds about right. 6 years later. And we're able to do this. I never imagined this. I didn't know anything about the sci-fi conventions. And I didn't have a real concept of the loyalty that sci-fi fans have with the things that they love. And because of them, because of the people that have been so loyal to the show, it's given me in some down times, it's lifted me up quite a bit. And I owe them as much, if not more than anything. I'm very grateful for what they have done for me and my family. So
that's beautiful. Joanne? Oh, it looks like we can't hear you.
I
think you're muted, Joan.
No,
she's not muted.
Sounds we just lost her sound for a bit. Yes. Okay. Yep. She said, "I love you all. Come see me."
Yeah.
In 2021. Okay, I got you. Yeah. No, that was interpretive dancing. I love that one. That was.
Oh, there she's back.
Am I back? Can I?
Okay, yeah, you're back now. Yay!
Oh, great.
Victor, right?
You guys all know my moves. They're the same as they were in Warehouse. It's really interesting. I don't know. Allison just spoke so eloquently about the bookends of the show, and Warehouse was my life for 5 years. That was what I did. It was the only thing in my life that I did. And I think at this point, and having some space and time between me and it now, I realize how important it was to me just as a human. And the fact that there's a whole community of people who also are involved in it still to this day is a bit astounding to me, that there's this whole patchwork, this whole community where something that I guess meant so much to me also means so much to so many people. And I think especially this time when we feel so disconnected and so isolated and sometimes so anxious, Aaron with his cat and alone, to feel that web right now, I find it very comforting. And so, I'm very thankful.
That's very well said. Genelle?
Oh, I'm next. I thought you went down to. Okay.
From my view, it's different from your view to my view. So I'm sorry.
It's all good. I have to say thank you to everybody that's watching, because to be quite honest, this is the reason why we're all here and we're all able to see each other. And it's such a beautiful thing. I mean, you got Joanne Kelly out on a social media platform. That's just unheard of. So I want to thank all of you guys for bringing us all together. And I can see Cece and Aaron and Allison and Saul and Eddie and Joanne all in one place. And I haven't seen everybody in so long. And it's been such a year, as I'm sure it has been for many of you out there. And it's just such a beautiful thing to kind of have a moment, even if it's only 45 minutes, to kind of just forget it all and come together and talk about a time in our lives that we loved, and that everybody else loved too. So thank you.
Love that. CCH?
Maybe I just get back to the sci-fi of it all, because I was under the impression that Warehouse 13 was sort of my first sci-fi venture. And then I was hip to how many other sci-fi things I had done in one way or another. And I thought, oh, so that's sci-fi. That's sci-fi too. And so I've actually been roaming around the space/sci-fi universe for a very long time. And I didn't realize also that there were so many people who were willing to learn other languages because they thought I spoke other languages that were invented by a writer in a dark room. And how connected people are to the idea of the great imagination as opposed to the serious fiction, but the great imagination that pushes you forward, where things that in your own world don't seem possible, that they're possible in this world. And hopefully it inspires you to come back to your own world and say, okay, that ugly son of a gun, I'm going to go up and say hello and see what happens. There's all of that can happen through these wonderful imaginary worlds. So it has been a terrific journey that I never really noticed until times like these, when we sit together and we talk and we kind of, what we did was kind of special, and we did it well, and we did okay, and we've obviously made a little bit of an impression on some of the fans out there. So I appreciate that from them. And I certainly appreciate you, Victor, for helping us see
my pleasure.
that we created something.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Aaron?
Yeah, I mean, I think an interesting thing that sort of happened, and when you're working in this industry, I have started to frame my life in projects. A certain time period where you've been working on something and then you're on something else, and years don't mean so much, but I think about projects, and I think of my Warehouse 13 time frame period of my life as really, really special for many different reasons. I got to meet all you guys, or the cast members here, and seeing all your faces today makes me really happy. You guys are all amazing people, super talented. I feel a little emotional. I don't know why. This is usually Eddie's emotional. I think I'm channeling a little bit of Eddie, but yeah, it's really, really nice to see all of your faces, and we're all in different places in the world, and God, I don't know why I'm getting so emotional.
Don't fight it.
Hold that back.
I don't want to see the ugly cry. That's the world is in chaos in a lot of ways, and to see that you guys are all doing well, and it's good. And also, I think I don't know why I'm so emotional. Just also fans out there. Jesus, I need to excuse me guys for a minute.
Cry, Aaron.
Yeah, let it out, man. Let it out. We're all working
on a show like this, getting to meet so many people. I also think that sometimes acting, you can be sort of selfish, like, what am I getting out of this? And artistically, what is this doing for me? But I think getting to meet so many people that were moved and entertained. And that really is a great feeling to know that, something that we do, that we enjoy, also can mean a lot to other people. And that's a really powerful thing. And I think that this show, over many other shows that I've been a part of, that became very clear to me. And through the people that you meet and the stories that you hear from other people, or other castmates and stuff, having these amazing interactions with people, it's moving. And I think it sort of puts it in perspective. And this can be sometimes a vain, silly industry, but when you see how it can also help and move people, it makes you feel good. So anyways, before I start weeping, I think I got it under control there, but
not a problem.
Oh, please move on for me, please.
Okay. Allison, you're up next.
Okay. Two quick things. Number one, talking about the past is so hard for me just because of my constitution. My anxiety was so high before this. I wanted to throw up, cry, and go back to bed all kind of in the same millisecond. So, Victor, I got to say thank you, because your energy has just been so infectious and lovely and unifying. So I think the best way that I can kind of close my thoughts on all of this is an anecdote involving our fearless leader, Jack Kenny, who at the top of season 3, I know he did this with a number of us, but I think about this on a regular basis. When you're watching the show, you're enjoying the finished product. You're not seeing hour 18 on day 7 of a long shoot outside in extreme weather, wearing the wrong clothes for it, because when this airs, it won't be, you know what I mean? You don't see the kind of the slog that it can be, because it's a great job, but it is still ultimately a job. And Jack, I remember, sat us down in succession at the beginning of season 3, and he was like, okay, it's going to start to feel like a job now. And here's what I need you to remember. And he pulled out of a little cloth pouch the brass ring from a carousel. So if anyone's not familiar, you ride a merry-go-round or a carousel and you reach out and try to grab this brass ring, and it's really hard. And so if you do manage to grab the brass ring, it's exceptional. You've made it in a way. And he handed it several of us, the brass ring, and he said, this is it. These are the good old days. So in the late hours, on the long days, when this starts to feel like a job and your mind begins to wander about where you'd rather be and what you'd rather be doing, just remember that you've grabbed the brass ring, and it doesn't get better than this.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
And I keep that brass ring out on my desk. I look at it every day. And I remember that no matter where this long, strange journey of life takes us, I had a pretty friggin' exceptional 5 years.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
The brass ring, I thought it was a sexual device.
Oh my God.
I don't.
That takes me back.
That's not.
Wow. Yeah, no, that's different. It's a different kind of ring. Saul?
Yeah, that I remember that now. That was amazing. We're actors, we're gypsies. We go from family to family, stage, television. Sometimes it's a day on a show. Sometimes, like this one, it's 5 years. It's rare. Cece, you've been on the show now for 7 years. You've got a whole new family there in New Orleans, and all of us have gone on in the last 6-7 years to meet other families and to be part of other families. And I started doing this when I was 7 years old on stage, and was part of a family, and the family kept on having to grow. And I think I kept on looking for and kept on wanting that family wherever I was, even if it was hard, when you're on for a day or two as a guest actor on a show and you're looking at other families and you've come as a guest and you're looking to see, well, how does this family operate? And can I join in? And, the rules here are very odd. And sometimes you're in the middle of a dysfunctional family, and sometimes those are the best ones in a creative process. The dysfunction turns into some kind of function. And it's a weird process for us as actors, as gypsies, going from family to family and from show to show. And when we're actors on stage, we have so much control. We're doing 7-8 shows a week, and we're spilling blood together, and as actors, we're controlling it. Here it's edited, put together. You ask us if we saw the show, and a lot of us don't. I mean, I haven't seen the show in a while, but I think I'd like it, but I'd feel removed from it because it's like what Allison said. Our memories are those 18-hour days together and the ups and downs of them. The thing that I remember, and I'd been doing it a lot, but I hadn't really heard it this way put also by Jack Kenny came onto the show after we'd already shot the pilot and done the pilot, and they needed somebody else to be a co-showrunner of the show. And he eventually took over as the showrunner, but he told me the story of coming to a meeting where he was, basically auditioning to be the showrunner of this show. And I think it happened because he had already worked with Eddie, and Eddie told him the story that they were looking for somebody new. And he said, well, what am I, chopped liver? Tell them about me. I'm a showrunner. I've been doing this before. And he went to an interview with the Sci-Fi Network or NBC Universal, whoever it was. He said, look, here's what I have to offer. I don't know much about sci-fi or fantasy shows. I've never worked on one as a writer. And I suspect if you do hire me, I'll be helping to find the people that are really good at that world, what I am good at. And I think what I can offer you is, as a writer, is this show, I think, will just not be that interesting unless it's about a family. And that's what I can offer you. I think I can help create a family here. One of the things you're missing is you've got with Saul Rubinek, poor guy, he's got to have mountain of exposition you're going to give him. He needs a sorcerer's apprentice. You need to find somebody younger and maybe female who is going to, be a part of that world with him in there, or you just got him in there, and no matter what, he's too big of struggle. You've got a great dynamic already between Eddie and Joanne, but I think I need to create a family here. So what happened was they hired him, which is unusual anyway, but they did. And as a result of his leadership, and Jack lives a couple of miles from me here, and we're very close friends now. And as a result, and he's really hasn't changed in his viewpoint about how a television series should work, which is the creation of a family, and the best ones have that. And you feel it. What I'm hoping, and I think that's why we have fans, is that the stories were great. The stories were fun. It was a great premise. And the other great thing about it was, of course, that you had shows that could be watched by 7-year-olds and 80-year-olds in the same room, which usually is a singing competition show where a family watches, but very unusual to have an hour-long show like this that the age range, would hit different levels of humor for an adventure for all these different age ranges. And it's very unusual. Even today, very hard to look at a show and say that'll work for a whole family. Violence was kept to a minimum or off screen. It was fun. It was, but more than that, it was Jack's first pitch to the network. Not only did he create a family dynamic in the writing and encouraged his writers to do that, it's that we became a family, not always functional. Certainly, as Joanne and Eddie said, we may not have all had safe words, but we all were irritated with each other and adored each other, sometimes in the same minute. And we gave each other a tremendous amount of challenges and support all at the same time. It was awful when I had to kill Genelle. It was like, I remember it too. I just didn't want you to go. And it was very difficult to end it. But because it was like ending a family that I'd never been on the show for 5 years, it was an anomaly for me. But I think what the audience feels is that family that we created underneath the story, underneath the dialogue, underneath everything. There was a real affection and real emotions that we were able to imbue our characters with. And I suspect that if I do watch the show, which I haven't in 7 years or 8 years, that's what I'll feel. And I think it's what Jack, as the leader, who did that to us.
Absolutely. And in fact, just to speak to your point about how the fans have received it, here are a couple of comments. Annie M. Go says, Warehouse was what taught me that you can find and make your own family, which is a huge, huge thing. It's such a beautiful, shout out to some of these things. Let's see. I'm sorry. Cassie Endless Wonder says, I could never thank you guys enough for getting me through some of the toughest times of my life. Love you all forever. Sarah says, thank you for having this panel. This show means so much to me, and I rewatch it every year at this time. That's absolutely what families do. So this is so beautiful to hear this. One of the last things that I'm going to do, since we are family, I'm going to ask that everyone join me in a quick happy birthday shout out to Joanne and CCH, whose birthdays are next week, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, Christmas.
Yes, yes. So, ladies, happy birthday. A little early. Again, this is what families do.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Sing it, big
It's a birthday party. It's a birthday party. Absolutely. Sincerely, though, I want to thank you all for your time, your energy, your talent. Thank you all for joining us. Seriously, everyone that's watching, we appreciate you guys coming in. Big shout out to Wizard World for bringing us all together. There are a ton of Wizard World panels that are coming up throughout the rest of the day. But for Warehouse 13, you guys can check that out on Peacock for free right now. I think it's on some other platforms, but definitely get your watch on. You should absolutely be doing this. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we go. All the fans that are watching live, watching later on Twitch, Facebook, YouTube, please check out those paid exclusive experiences, the one-on-one private video chats, autographs, custom recorded messages. You guys can talk to them just like I have. It's the greatest thing in the world. I'm not going to lie. This is the reason why we are all here. You can get those at wizworldvirtual.com. It's been an absolute joy. Once again, I'm Victor Dandridge, the hardest working man in comics, saying thank you to the cast of Warehouse 13.
Thank you, Victor.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hi, this is Aaron Ashmore, and you are watching Fandom Spotlight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe like now. Oh, and have fun and follow your fandom.